This is my word for the day. I'm going to teach you now how to correctly pronounce this word. There it is. To correctly pronounce this word, it may help to put some chewing tobacco in your mouth, and spitting out the juice may help you with the last syllable. The first syllable is a bit tricky. Before trying to pronounce a vowel, it is important to figure out how to say the first two consonants, HY. Why have a Y unless it was meant to be pronounced, is what I would say. So high, HY, becomes high as an I is substituted for the Y. High is what the Japanese speakers say frequently in some of the conversations I've had with them over the years. And it does not mean hi as in hi, how are you today? But hi as I understand what you're saying, but do not necessarily agree with it. So that's why Japanese must be so difficult to learn. There's just a lot of words there to compact in just two letters there. The next two syllables of my word for today are relatively easier, and the un sound is said as an independent word, unconnected with what comes before or after. And then day, D-A-I, is where the I becomes a Y, just the reverse of the previous one. So the correct way to pronounce the word is Hyundai. And now someone might feel compelled after you said that to them to correct you with another pronunciation. And your response needs to be, that is what I said, which leaves them speechless with no rejoinder. In my blog published yesterday, I mentioned that my cash flow from maturing bonds, CDs, and treasury bills was about to pick up starting on January 15th and continuing weekly throughout 2024. Fidelity credited my account today with $17,000 in proceeds from senior unsecured investment grade quality corporate bonds maturing on January 15th. I don't know if you can see this, but I made a snapshot of it. See right there. Four of these bonds were issued by REITs, and they are Camden Property, Kimco Realty, Welltower, and Federal Realty. Given that REITs pay out most of their free cash flow, as I discussed in a previous video, in common stock dividends, their bonds are viewed as more risky by me and others than a regular C corporation bond that has similar financial metrics. The money's just flying out the door in common share dividends for real estate investment trust. Unlike my other brokers, Fidelity will credit payments received on a Monday holiday on Saturday, and the funds can be used to pay for a trade on Tuesday morning. These are $1,000 par value bonds. When buying one bond at $100, the cost would be $1,000 plus accrued interest that has to be paid to the seller. The tax accounting for accrued interest is a different subject, which I have discussed many times in my blog. The bonds are priced at 1/10 of par value for trading purposes. For example, I had 5 Federal Realty senior unsecured bonds mature in this account. Those issue bonds are currently rated Baa1 by Moody's and BB Plus by S&P, which is high for a REIT. My last purchase was a 2-bond lot that was made on July 11th, 2023, and was discussed in my July 15th, 23 post. I discussed my corporate bond purchases in my blog. I paid 98.891 with a $1 commission that Fidelity charges per bond. That added 0.1 to my cost basis, bringing the total cost per bond to 98.991. Multiply that number by 10 and the cost for one bond becomes $989.91. The yield to maturity was then at 6.01%, and at my total cost, and that calculation takes into account both the interest payments that are made and the quote profit unquote realized when the bond matures and $1,000 is paid out by the issuer. The bond profit generally will be classified as interest rather than a capital gain. That's another subject altogether. The current yield was when I purchased the last two was 3.99%. For purposes of comparing the yield with a similar maturity treasury, I would use yield to maturity of, in this case, 6.01% at my total cost. The YTM is juiced some over the current yield given the short period to maturity, which was only about 6 months when I made that purchase. On July 11, 2023, the 6-month Treasury bill closed at 5.5%, so I picked up about 0.46% in yield by buying this corporate bond that was rated BB plus compared to the Treasury bill. That would not make much sense if I had to pay state income tax on corporate bond interest, since U.S. Treasury interest payments cannot be taxed by a state. Tennessee does not have any individual income tax. It does make some sense to me to pick up the extra yield given the lack of the state income tax issue and the size of my corporate bond portfolio.